Hey, welcome back to Multifamily Roadmap. This is deal walkthrough number 3. Let's get into it. So deal walkthrough number 3. We're going to name this one the Old Tired Landlord. Just kind of story that you'll probably run into when investing. Just an old landlord that's owned a property for a long time that's just looking to get out. And this is often the way that you find some pretty good deals. So let's dig in. Um, so it was a $152,000 off market property. I had found it through networking. A guy that was an investor that I had lunch with brought me this property because it was out of his range, but it was in my range of where I wanted to invest, and asked me if I wanted to go take a look. So I went and met him and the owner at the property, and we toured it and ended up taking it down. So it was 5 apartments, 3 2 bedroom, 2 1 bedroom. There was one vacant unit. It was actually a tenant that he had to kick out because she was drilling holes in the wall and ripping stuff off the walls like cabinets and ripping the molding because she thought there was people in the wall watching her. So he had to kick her out. So that one was sitting vacant. The rest were long-term tenants. Um, and like I said, it's the same owner had owned this property for over 30 years, hardly ever raised rents, didn't even actually have any paper leases or electronic leases. He just was all by just agreement, word of mouth agreement. And the property here, you can kind of see in the background, if you look where I'm circling here, there's like a little creek behind there. So it was in a flood zone, which meant there's kind of an added barrier to entry because you had to get flood insurance. This owner didn't have flood insurance. So when we went to actually get the flood insurance, it was a kind of pain in the butt, and we thought we were at one point going to have to pay like 6 grand for flood insurance, and it actually ended up being like 1,800 for the flood insurance part of it because we kept looking for better and better deals. So and then the parking area, when we first looked at it, there was the like right here you can kind of see the one car. There's a wall here and then a decent drop off. Well, that had kind of gotten washed away by a big a rainfall. So that was an area that we wanted to rebuild it just so we didn't have to worry about that and anything worse in the future. Um, and the property had septic and well, because it was just kind of out more rural area. Prefer public water and public sewer, but you know this kind of all that you have usually out of the properties where this was located. So the roof was also in rough shape, 2 or 3 years till you probably got to replace that. And the windows were also really bad. So our plan was to replace all the windows. And so you can see down here, I put a map on it. That's where the property was, and the creek literally just ran right behind it, and the road here curved in front. So the business plan for it was to renovate all the units. You can kind of see these top two. This is what the vacant unit looked like. See, some of the cabinet doors are missing because she ripped them off. Old wood paneling, old flooring. The carpet was rough and old. So the plan was to fully renovate. Start with the vacant 2 bedroom first, obviously, because it's the easiest. So renovate that, fully renovate that. New floors, paint. We put in new appliances, kitchen cabinets. We put new doors on the ones that were missing doors, and then repainted the cabinets and put new hardware on them. Updated the bathroom a little, and just put the closets in the bedrooms needed some work because she had really roughed up the old tenant had roughed up the closet doors. So we put new closet doors, and that's pretty much it. So where our plan was to then offer that to one of the other tenants that was there at the new rate, see if they wanted to move in. Because if you do that and they do move in, that's one more vacant unit that you can then move on to renovate. You don't have to wait till anybody moves out or evict anybody. It's kind of just he or she moves into the new unit. You renovate their old unit. You just kind of hope to keep that process going. That's always best case, but that's usually doesn't happen. So the one thing we did on top of that was we implemented a rent increase plan because all the rents for the property were like 400 or 425 a piece, which is, even with their rough shape, was significantly low for the area. So we implemented a rent increase to just get closer to what they should be paying. And, usually if they see us renovate one unit and implement a little bit of a rent increase, if they aren't going to want to pay once we renovate the units, that kind of gives them a heads up to start looking, and maybe get out if they're not willing to pay the new rent and want a better looking apartment. Um, so and then after we renovate all the units, all 5 of the units, we do a cash out refinance at 18 to 24 months, pull 100% of our money out, and then hold for long-term cash flow, and then just refinance when the commercial loan comes due again at usually like 5 years. So at the top here, you can see that rough looking kitchen. This is what it looked like after. We did a little bit of gray flooring. The paint on the walls is white. The cabinets were grayish. And then here's the bathroom, what it looked like, and some minor improvements to make it just look a little bit better. So here's the investment and rental analysis. So the renovations that we need $20,000 to rebuild the wall, because we're getting an engineer out to rebuild it correctly, make sure it wouldn't move anywhere and anything like that happen in the future. So we don't have to worry about the tenants parking issue, having some issue with the parking collapsing or anything like that. So renovations, $15K per unit, estimated a little bit on the high side. We did do the vacant unit obviously already, and that came in around like 12 and a half, 13,000. So a little bit lower. But it's nice to budget a little extra in there. So 75,000 for the 5. All new windows came in at 8,300. And then just miscellaneous fixes around the outside and other things was 1,500, coming to a renovation of $104,800. Purchase price 152. Got a 75% loan for 114,000. Down payment needed 38,000, and then closing costs of 5,000 gave us 7,600. So then all in, we need 150,000 to take this one down. So for the rental analysis, like I said, the current rents were $425. We did a little bit of a market comps with rentometer.com, apartment.com. As you can see here, these are pretty high. And then we contacted some management companies in the area and went with more of what they were saying. The reason we did that is the closest comps for the rentometer and apartments.com were all closer in to the actually town where it was. So where there's more activity, this one was out a little bit. So we knew we couldn't quite get those rents there. So we kind of went by an average of or just went by the lowest numbers here from Elite Property Management, just to be conservative. So we'll run down the income and expense projection. Do a 2-year stabilization period, since it's only 5 units, but it does take some time to get all those renovated. Budgeted at 12% vacancy the first 2 years when we're doing the renovation, so that's a little bit higher. And then taxes 5,200. Insurance was like 3,000 something, then plus the 1,800 for flood. Property management, the usual 10%. Maintenance, we did 500 per unit. Since we were redoing all the units, we did a little bit on the lower side. CapEx, we did 300 a unit, which is kind of about the middle of the road. And then contract services is for the septic and well. So you got to do well tests to make sure the water's okay, and septic, obviously pumping the septic system. And then just 250 for other miscellaneous. The utilities were 1,000 for common area electric, well, septic, and then trash was 1,500. So that gave us, when you're looking at it with those low rents, you're basically getting no net operating income out. But as you increase those rents to what's normal, you get up to 24, 25, 26,000. So financial summary and outlook, we use a 7.5% exit cap rate. With what we're doing today, we can probably get 7, but always like to project up a little bit higher just to be a little extra conservative. So if you're thinking for the market, when we get done this, it'll be 7, bump it up 0.5% just to be safe, make your numbers, a little bit more conservative just in case something happens. So the NOI start out at 11,000 once we start getting in there. And then by year 5, we get it up to 26,000. The ROI super low because of the low rents, but we're getting up to 10, 11, almost 12 in year 3, 4, 5. So that ends up being all right. And then IRR is 19% at year 3. We're able to pull out all our money out. So no money left in the deal, 100%, 106% return at year 3. So, it's a great deal. So this is a property, like I said, that we already took down. So we started it. We got the one unit rented, and we're working on getting. There's one tenant that hasn't paid, so we're gonna get him out and then renovate that unit. So it was just looking at the numbers, it was a good deal at 152,000. Like I said, we used the exit or conservative exit cap rate. So if it was a little bit lower, it looked even better. And there was a bonus with this one. The landlord, it was actually a bonus deal, but it was easier for me to just do this 5 unit for you here. But the guy actually had a 26 unit mobile home park that we purchased alongside this 5 unit. So we actually paid more than we wanted to. But that was because we got such a great deal on the mobile home park. So we were willing to go a little bit higher on this. But even at 152, when we appraised it at closing, came back at $230,000 for the 5 unit. We project at 100% plus of investment going to be returned at 2 years. We might even get up to like 150% of what we put in back out. So we will see. And then for the first renovated unit, we actually got $995 instead of the $950 that we put in our numbers. So that's $45 more per unit, is what we're projecting out now. So if you do $45 of additional rent per unit times the 5 units times 12 months, that's $2,700 more rent than we projected. And at the 7.5% cap rate, you divide it by the 7.5%. That's $36,000 more in value than we projected. So the property should price out at $36,000 more than we projected. So the 3 to 5 year IRR will likely be closer to 25, which is a great deal. So that's it for deal 3. Great 5 unit, and it's actually projecting out better than we originally did. So we're happy with this, and I'll do an updated one once we get done refinancing this and everything like that. So thank you for joining me.